What's going on YouTube? So it has been a bougie kind of week since we have been testing out none other than this 2022 Cadillac Escalade. This of course is one of the most luxurious SUVs on the road, especially when we're talking about this Sport Platinum, which has all the mega luxury and tech goodies, including Super Cruise. So without wasting any time, let's go ahead and see if 7 days proved once and for all that this is the luxury SUV king. Now in a previous video, we did cover the whole lineup of Escalades from the bottom to the top. Today, I really want to keep the focus on the Platinum level because that of course is the pinnacle of the Escalade lineup, and I feel like really a great percent of people do choose to go for the top end Platinum models. So what are you going to get with that? Well, of course, standard on every Escalade is going to be a big, in-your-face, bold look. That starts with the grille. So you got two different versions if you go Platinum grade. If you choose the premium luxury Platinum, that's going to have a lot of chrome for that big blingy look, but we have the Platinum Sport, so what that's going to do is give you the black mesh and the black surrounds to the grille to give you a kind of a mean and menacing look. Basically, different tastes for different folks. Now, no matter which model you choose, you're going to have these headlights. These are, of course, going to be standard full LED. They have a beautiful design with a lot of different etching inside of it. They are adaptive as well. And then signature Escalade, you've got that blade that comes down right through here. This is going to double as your daytime running light and your turn signal indicator, of course. Both LED, but you will notice that we don't have LED fog lamps. Now, just like with the front end design, you are going to have some different themes for your wheel options. You can go full bling and chrome if you want, but since we have the Sport model, that's going to give you these very aggressive looking contrast alloys. They're going to be 22 inches no matter what. As you can see, it does have a nice gray finish with these silver accents. Like I said, it looks very nice, especially when it's paired with kind of this dark colored paint. This is called Galactic Gray, so it's kind of a blue gray and has a lot of metallic in it. It does look quite nice. Now as we come over here to the mirrors, these of course are going to be fully loaded as you'd expect. So we do have power folding, heating, auto dimming, and blind spot monitoring. The auto dimming is just going to be on the driver's side though, and new for 2022, we do have a standard Cadillac projection logo.
Wow guys, I feel like a little ant standing next to this Cadillac Escalade because this is one big SUV. It's probably one of the biggest SUVs that you can get regardless of how much you want to spend. Now, if you're curious about the length for the Escalade, it's going to be 211.9 inches for the standard wheelbase model. Of course, you can also get the extended wheelbase ESV, and that's going to come in at 227 inches in length. So that extends it out even further to give you more cargo capacity. Now, as far as some of the design elements that the Escalade is going to throw in for the Sport models, you will notice that all of these pieces are going to be blacked out. It's kind of hard to notice on this particular model right here, but it does give it a stealthy vibe. Otherwise, this would be chrome on all of the other models. I also want to mention the air suspension because that is a notable element. Since we do have the fully loaded Platinum model, we are going to have that air suspension as standard equipment. And for 2022, they have added more availability to get that on the different trim levels, not just the Platinum. Now, let's go ahead and walk around to the rear design. Now, of course, for 2022, Cadillac is not going to change anything because this is, of course, all new last year. So you're going to have that signature Escalade design, but they really don't need to change anything because this is definitely an iconic look. So we do have our wiper that's hidden up underneath of the spoiler, which I think is a nice touch. It definitely gives it a little bit more of a classy vibe than some of the other rivals. We have our big Cadillac emblem right here that also doubles as a trunk release. And then let's check out these taillights. These taillights are some really, really nice taillights. They have the signature Cadillac vertical design. They are going to be full LED on every single model. And if you just pay attention to how 3D and all of the really cool elements that they've thrown in here, has a lot of sketching inside, and they also do animate. So when you walk up to the vehicle, have some really cool animations going on. If we drop down to the lower area, for the Escalade, we do actually have some exposed exhaust outlets. For the Sport model, we have the trapezoid exhaust integrated in here, and it's also going to be blacked out. And then as far as your tow rating, the Escalade is going to have a maximum of 8,200 pounds with two-wheel drive. All right, guys, so let's go ahead and discuss your safety systems as well as the warranty information for the Escalade. Now, new for 2022, Cadillac is throwing in standard lane keeping assist on every single Escalade model, and that joins the other two safety systems as standard equipment, forward emergency braking and auto high beam headlamps. Now, if you're curious about the Super Cruise system, this particular Platinum does actually have that functionality, so that's going to be a really interesting thing to see and test out this week. It is a $2,500 option on this Platinum model, and that does allow for hands-free highway driving. Now, for your warranty information, you're looking at a 4-year 50,000-mile basic warranty, 6-year 70,000-mile powertrain warranty, which is one of the better ones in the business, and you are also going to have a 1 complimentary maintenance visit covered by Cadillac. But guys, this Escalade is certainly a beast on the outside, but this is a Platinum model, so let's go ahead and get inside and show you all the luxury in there before we take it out in a spin.
As we walk up to the Escalade, you will find, of course, their intelligent entry system with the brand's newest key fob. It does have a metal accent along the side. You also have standard remote start, and of course at nighttime a lot of things do light up as you approach, including a Cadillac emblem up there in the front of the vehicle. You have puddle lamps, illuminated door handles, and even the running boards down there at the bottom. Now, getting inside, it does have a sensor behind the door handle, so the door handle itself doesn't move. Just pinching it does unlock it and fold the doors open. We'll go ahead and hop inside. Like I said, we do have the optional power running boards, which are absolutely massive and make getting inside extremely easy. Gotta love that animation when you first get inside the vehicle. Now, of course, a big part of owning an Escalade, and especially a Platinum Escalade, is being spoiled with just gorgeous materials absolutely everywhere. So let's go ahead and start by talking about that with the seats. So you can start off your Escalade with leatherette and Mulan leather, but choosing the Platinum grade gets you these gorgeous semi-aniline leather seats. As you can see, we do have a really nice square quilting design that runs from the top to the bottom. As semi-aniline leather seats, they are super soft and supple all throughout. You do have the color contrast piping along the edges as well, and these are an absolute joy to set in and relax in over a long road trip. As far as the adjustment, they're going to be 16-way power adjusting on the Platinum with massage, which does have several different modes that you can choose between. And additionally, we do have the speakers built into the headrest as well. Now start to look around at the broader materials, and over here at the door trim, as you'll see, you have leather over the entire thing, all through here, color contrast stitching and piping, more leather through here, an insert of your genuine walnut wood, aluminum, and more leather across the top. Of course, you do have 3-stage heated and ventilated seats, standard 2-person memory, as well as 4 fully automatic windows. And then guys, of course, the rest of the cabin is going to be finished in fantastic materials as well. As a matter of fact, it even smells expensive in here. So we have leather that trims around the outside of these displays. We have full leather across the entire dashboard with the stitching detail. Generous use of the high gloss wood that runs through here. More leather through here. More wood, more leather, more leather. The leather goes all the way down to the floor, basically on every single panel inside of this vehicle. So obviously, of course, if you're spending this type of money, you want to have a really fine luxury experience, and this certainly delivers on that front. Let's go ahead and start it up. Now, in addition to being all about exuberant luxury, we also have a lot of technology inside this new generation Escalade, including the gigantic curved 38-inch display system here, which I will talk about. in just a second, but I want to focus on the gauge cluster first and foremost. Basically, you have 3 separate displays that come together to make the 38 inches. This one here is a 14.2 inch display for your gauges. As you can see, right now we are in the augmented reality camera system, and this is an absolutely stunning camera. As you can see, the resolution on this is spectacular. There's no lag between this and real life. And then of course, when you're navigating, it pops your instructions up, overlays it over top of your live view of the road. So it's very helpful and really a great system. Now off to the side here, we have a smaller 7-inch display. This is where we have kind of our traditional gauge cluster thing, so we can check our trip. We can click on this button here. This will allow us to switch between all the different types of gauges that we can do. So if you prefer a more traditional look, pop into that, that'll give you that. We also have the map where we can pull up the GPS right there. So that's what that looks like. And on this model, we do have the optional night vision system for $2,000. I can't turn that on right now, but we do have a dedicated night review of this Escalade that's coming to the channel, so make sure to stay tuned for that. And then right here is where we can adjust our head-up display. So this is a large head-up display. It's 15 inches. And obviously right now there's not a lot of information on it, but as you start to drive and navigate, more and more information populates on there. Now as you pull back to the steering wheel, of course you are going to find a beautiful full leather wrapped steering wheel. The Platinum does also throw in the nice leather wrapped airbag cover, and then we've got the nice wood accents and metal buttons as well. Of course you're going to find standard rain sense wipers on every Escalade, as well as full power adjusting for the steering wheel and steering wheel heating. Off to the side over here is where you'll find controls for your 4-wheel drive system. We also have our drive modes and our air suspension adjustments, and then some towing stuff down there. Alrighty, but let's go ahead and hop into the interior storage, because this is a very large SUV, so we expect to find quite a bit of storage. So underneath of our center console here, that's what you're going to find. So it's not a ton of storage, but that's because we do have the optional cool box on this example. So what this does is transform your center console into basically a mini fridge. So that's a really, really cool feature. It has been on just a second ago, and wow, it's really chilly inside of there. So this definitely will be more than enough to keep your Coke or whatever nice and chilled. That being said, if you want to chill your big stack of coupons, that is also an option. So as you can see, those do fit in there very well, even in this configuration. If you don't have the cool box, you're going to have quite a bit more storage inside of here. You do also have a couple 12-volt, a couple USBs, excuse me, right up there. Now up in front of that, if we push this and pull back this large piece of wood, we have our 2 cup holders. We have another storage area right there, 2 more USB ports. We also have a wireless phone charging pad, which you can slide your phone down through there. And we have a little bit of felt line storage over here on the side. I will say, compared to the Yukon we were just in, it does have a little bit less storage than that. Now, unlike its siblings, the Tahoe and Yukon, we don't have a push button style shifter. We do still have an electronic one, but it has more traditional operation. So you're just gonna press that button on the side, pull back for drive. You do have paddle shifters up on the steering wheel, although I don't really imagine many people are gonna use them. And of course, you push up to go into reverse. When you do, you will be greeted with this 360-degree camera system. And just like the camera in the front, it has amazing resolution. It looks really, really nice. You've got your traditional view with trajectory, your overhead view right there. And if we go over here, you have a lot of different views you can switch between, but of course, the crowd favorite is pressing this button right here, and you can rotate all around the vehicle like so. And then for park, you're just gonna press the P right on top. As we pull back from the shifter, you will find a nice metal button that you can control the infotainment system with, although it is also a touchscreen if you prefer that. And we also have a nice dash-mounted volume knob. Now this is a big part of the things I want to talk about with this Escalade Platinum, because it has a 36-speaker AKG reference premium sound system. And let me tell you guys, it is absolutely phenomenal. So I won't keep you in suspense any longer. Let's go ahead and take a sample of this. Let me tell you guys, this sound system is so good. You can absolutely hear every little detail of every song. I'm hearing things I never even knew were present in songs I've been listening to for years. It is absolutely spectacular. Plus, you know, I have to say it, metal speaker grills. Check this out. You have metal speaker grills even up in the ceiling and in the headrest. So absolutely lovely sound system. And even if you don't get the Platinum, you still have a 19 speaker AKG, which I've sampled before, and that one also is very, very good. Okay, but let's move on and let's check out the climate controls. We actually have a nice and simple arrangement down here. It is physically rendered with little metal toggles here. Nice rolling animation when you make adjustments. Like I said, all the buttons are located right there. Nothing really too crazy going on. You can also adjust the rear climate from the front inside of the main infotainment display. But now is the time we go ahead and talk about the main infotainment system. Now I already told you guys it is a curved OLED display, so as you can see it does kind of curve around towards the driver, which is a really nice touch. And this main infotainment system itself is 16.9 inches. So of course this model does come with both wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay abilities. I'm in the Android Auto interface right now, and while this system is really great, I do want to say one small complaint, and that's the fact that, as you can see, due to the way that this slopes off, the Android Auto and Apple CarPlay can't take up the entire display. So they only take up this small kind of square section in the middle of it, and they don't occupy any of this off to the sides. Of course, this is not a problem once you go into the main interface. When you do that, you'll see it take up the entire thing. This is the latest version of the Cadillac Q system. It does have a specific design just for Escalade duty here. Again, just a beautiful look to this. It's mostly black, and this is an OLED display, so it is a really black. You can't tell where the bezels and where the display begins. And one of the highest resolution displays I've ever seen on a vehicle. Obviously, you are going to have built-in navigation as well. And just an abundance of different features that you can go between, including your rear media. We can also adjust our ambient lighting to a very wide variety. I don't know how many total colors there are, but that's just about everything you could imagine. And you can also link it to the drive mode, turn up the brightness. You know, so of course, as you'd expect, really well thought out infotainment system here on the Escalade. Now, of course, there's a few more tech and luxury features to point out up here. So we do have the auto dimming mirror, flip the switch, and you do have the rear camera mirror, so that cuts out all the back obstructions, particularly important on a vehicle as large as this. Obviously, we are going to have full LED lighting. You have your HomeLink universal remotes located up here on this top panel. And of course, we do have a standard panoramic sunroof. As you can see, it's quite large. It does stop at the second row. There is enough space you could actually probably fit another sunroof back there for the third row. But of course, the top portion does open right up. And with the Platinum grade, the entire roof is going to be finished in a very nice suede.
Well guys, I feel like the rock star sitting back here in the Escalade Sport Platinum. So this is, of course, obviously a nice place to spend time regardless of which trim level of the Escalade you go for, but when you go to Platinum level, it really just gets incredibly nice and you feel very special sitting in this rear area. It's probably one of the nicest SUVs money can buy regardless. Now, let's go ahead and break down some of those features because there is a lot to talk about back here, so I won't waste too much of your time. As far as the legroom is concerned, we're looking at 41.7 inches of legroom, 38.9 inches of headroom. As you can see, the seat is adjusted for Drew's 5'8" driving position. I'm 5'9". I have, I would say, 8 or so inches of rear legroom. I can also slide my feet easily up underneath the seat, so certainly a lot of space going on. It is worth noting, of course, this is the standard wheelbase. If you go for the ESV, that doesn't change the second row legroom. However, we can slide the seat forward and back actually a really good distance. So we can scoot that seat back to give you some extra legroom, or you can also scoot it up if you need more legroom in the third row. It also can recline to give you even more comfort. Now, let's break down some of the luxury that you're going to get here. So here in the center, let's go ahead and start here. we have some leather wrapping across all of this area, which is a really nice touch. And then here are your controls. So we'll go ahead and break this down. We have 3-zone climate, so only 1 zone of climate back here. That is something that probably could be 4-zone for a vehicle as expensive as this. However, going to the left, we do have standard heated rear seats, as you would expect. Vented seats are actually not going to be offered on the Escalade regardless of which trim level you go for. Dropping down below that, we have these really cool cup holders that pop out. Then down below that, we have a ton of connections. Guys, if you can't keep your stuff charged up, you don't need that much stuff. We have a USB Type-C, HDMI, USB-C, as well as a household style outlet. So everything can fit charged up back here. Now, why do you have those HDMI ports? Well, that's because we have the rear seat entertainment screens on this model. So as you can see, we have the dual screen set up. There's one in each of the seat backs. These are high resolution displays, and they're going to be able to do really cool stuff, including Hulu. We have it on Hulu right now. As far as like just the functionality, you can see, look how smooth it is to just scroll through. And you're also going to have your own set of Cadillac branded wireless headphones to make you feel even more bougie. So you're lucky if your parents drive one of these. Now, as far as other features, over here on the door trim, we do have a really nice leather wrap door trim. As you would expect, it's going to carry some of the same materials as the front. We have a metal speaker grill, and then we also have some door storage down in the bottom. And then coming back inside the cabin, we have a leather wrapped assist grip for the Platinum model. Up at the top, we have that nice suede headliner, as well as our vents and some more metal speaker grills. Now, one thing I did forget to mention in the second row is that you do have this captain's chair set up. That's actually going to be standard equipment on the Escalade, although bench seating is offered. I don't believe it is offered on this trim level, though. So in order to get back to the third row, you can either walk in the center there, or you can find this little lever here that will fold the seat flat. If you pull it once more, it will fold the seat up and completely out of the way, giving you a really clear walkway into the third row. Now, with the new generation Escalade, this third row has been a very impressive element. For the standard wheelbase model, you're looking at 34.9 inches of legroom, a little over 38 inches of headroom. And as far as what that looks like, as you can see, 5'9", this seat is actually slid all the way back. I still have about an inch of room to spare. My feet can slide up underneath the seat, and the thigh support is absolutely fantastic. This is one of the best third rows that you can get regardless of any vehicle's price point. This and the Navigator have some of the best third rows available on any car. Now, the ESV will extend that out to be 36 inches of legroom, so you have a little bit more legroom, but not by a lot. I also want to point out, we're going to have that same semi-aniline leather back here in the third row, which is really bougie, and you also have that same stitching pattern. Now, as far as our features, we have USB Type-C off to the side. We have cup holders, and they are going to throw in vents here in the ceiling. All right, and walking up to the tailgate area for the Escalade, you did see that animation there, so that's pretty cool. Now, as far as the cargo department itself is concerned, we do have the availability of popping the rear glass independently, which I know is something that a lot of you guys like that functionality, and a lot of vehicles have been eliminating that. We can also pop it by pushing the Cadillac emblem, which is pretty bougie, but you're also going to have a standard hands-free ability for the power tailgate. It does illuminate a Cadillac emblem at nighttime right here on the right side, so you just kick up under there and it will open up. But guys, you buy an Escalade because space is a luxury, and you are going to have a lot of space in here. You're looking at 25.5 cubic feet behind the third row seats. If you fold them down at 63 cubic feet, and as a maximum you have 109 cubic feet for the Escalade standard wheelbase. If you go up to the ESV, you'll have a little over 140 cubic feet, so that's something worth considering if you need that additional space. Also worth considering is that that's actually a little bit less space than what you get in the Yukon and Tahoe, because they have added more sound system elements and stuff. That does reduce the space down a little bit. Now, let's talk about your finishings. This is, of course, a bougie car, so you do have nice finishings. We have a nice carpeting along the floor. If we lift that up, you will have space up underneath of here to put something like an umbrella. And then off to the side, let's show this off. We have a household style outlet, so to keep everything charged up. And then you're also going to have your power folding abilities. Power folding is actually standard on every single Escalade, so you can just hold that down. As you can see, it folds down really quickly, and you also have the ability to fold the second row with the touch of a button there. So look at how much space that is, guys. That is an absolute crap ton of space. And of course, it is going to be about the largest thing that you can get within the segment. Now, I believe Drew did forget to mention that the Platinum model will have soft close abilities. So as you can see, it will go ahead and suck itself closed if you do not shut the vehicle door properly. Now, as far as the passenger seat, this is of course going to be power adjusting. You're going to have the same adjustments as the driver. We have all of those abilities. We have the 4-way lumbar support, and we're also going to have massaging abilities even here on the passenger side. Then if we check this area out right here, we do have a little storage cubby. It's even leather wrapped all the way down to the floor. That is so nice. We also have a 12-volt outlet there. The glove box is also going to be leather wrapped for the Platinum. And then if we pop open the glove box itself, it is going to be nicely felt lined. And you know, we got to do it. I don't care if this car cost over 6 figures. We still have our coupons in here. It's a traditional thing. So you can throw those in there. They fit in there perfectly fine. Up top, we have that nice suede sun visor here. We have mirror that has LED lighting that gently fades in and out. And we can also detach the mirror as well as extend it out. And there is 60 miles an hour in the Escalade Sport Platinum. Now, of course, I probably don't have to tell you what's under the hood of this Escalade because you probably already know just by the sound of it. It's a pretty iconic motor. It's, of course, GM's 6.2 liter V8, 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque, and of course it does need quite a bit of that power to get this big behemoth up to speed, but as you can see there, it definitely does a good job of getting it up to speed perfectly fine, even though this thing probably weighs goodness knows how much. But
yeah, it's actually quite quick, really. I would say 0 to 60 is like around 6 seconds, and you know, that's really nice. Obviously, you're getting a great sound as well as you accelerate. And don't forget, we officially have a Cadillac Escalade V on the way, so that's going to be absolutely insane. Cannot wait for that.
That will be the Mac Daddy engine option for the Escalade. But certainly this motor is perfectly fine. That is going to be standard equipment on every single Escalade. So unlike the Tahoe and Yukon, you do not have the 5.3 liter V8 option. You just go straight to the 6.2.
But you do have the availability to get the turbo diesel if that's something you prefer. I'm sure the take rate on that is going to be pretty low, but if you do want a diesel in this, it's got less power, the same amount of torque. Obviously, you're going to get better fuel economy, but on diesel fuel.
But guys, it just sounds so good. I don't even care if it's fast. Anything that sounds as good as the 6.2 liter, it just really puts a smile on your face. And that's certainly something worth noting because when you look at this vehicle's competitive set, something like a Lincoln Navigator, I think its most head-to-head competition, is going to have a V6 instead of that big raspy V8 growl. And I really think that this is just the better way to go. I think the buyers in this segment are really going to appreciate the V8 growl. It never gets old accelerating in the Escalade, that is for sure. But I was accelerating there to show you how good the 10-speed automatic transmission is. This is one of the best transmissions that we've sampled. Having 10 gears, it obviously has a lot of gears to switch through, but you never feel it switching gears at all. It's absolutely seamless, as you would expect out of a luxury SUV, but it can drop down 2 or 3 gears at a time and you absolutely feel nothing, which is of course what you want out of a luxury SUV.
Right, and for those of you who don't know, this was co-developed with Ford, so you would find the same transmission, different tuning, but the same transmission in something like the Navigator. It's arch nemesis.
But it is a really good transmission. Now, as far as the ride quality is concerned for the Escalade, you know, we're just cruising along going 50 miles per hour, and I think that this is really one of the most noteworthy things about this vehicle's driving experience is just how smooth it is. This Platinum model does come standard with the air suspension, and as with most air suspensions, it does a absolutely phenomenal job of just smoothing out the road and making the road seem like it's absolutely paved, brand new spanking, even if it's not. You hit a bump and it just completely soaks it up. You might be able to see it, but you cannot feel anything.
Yeah.
I mean, no penetration at all.
Basically nothing comes into the cabin at all. It does have magnetic ride control as well, so you have both systems when you go for the top end Platinum model, and it is absolutely phenomenal. So this will be a good time for us to go ahead and get our sound level reading once we get up to back to 55 here.
Okay.
So we got 55.4. That was with a little bit of the engine growl in the background since we were climbing up the hill. Very good number. It gets even quieter when you're kind of coasting down.
Yeah.
Obviously, as you'd expect, we have top-notch sound insulation in here. At highway speed, you're really not hearing anything. It's like a library, and nothing to distract you as well from the awesome sound of the sound system. That's the only
Yeah,
the only
course.
major noise you want to hear is the engine and the sound system, and that is indeed the case.
And just another little touch, when you go for the Platinum, you get the massaging seats. I'm a sucker for massaging seats, guys, and I'm sitting here getting, I think, the roll massage, and that just elevates your experience even more. All right, guys, so we have the auto start stop system on right now. We'll see how quickly it restarts. Wow. That's very, very imperceptible, especially for as big of a motor as this is. It's even pretty quiet. They've toned it down, so when you start it up like from a cold start, it's really loud, but that auto start stop really does a good job of just blending right into the background.
And since we're talking about auto start stop, let me go ahead and hit you guys with your fuel economy numbers. Of course, not a primary focus of the Escalade, but you know, your fuel economy is about what you would expect. So you're looking at 14 city, 19 highway, 16 combined. That's going to be the same if you go with the two-wheel drive model or the four-wheel drive model like we have and most people also will have. Of course, like I was mentioning earlier, if you were to choose the diesel, that's going to bump you up to 23 combined. So that's a very impressive number.
Yeah, it's a large improvement.
Exactly. If that's the route you want to go, that's definitely pretty good, but it is going to be less than what you get out of the twin-turbo V6 inside the Lincoln Navigator.
Yeah, and there's a trip for 445 miles on this particular tester, and it averaged 17.1 miles a gallon if you're curious about real-world fuel economy. But guys, you know, we are in Kentucky after all, and it is almost March Madness time, so let's go ahead and hop into our signature airball and slam dunk. Now, we'll go ahead and preface this by saying it's really hard to come up with a particular thing that a $100 and some $1,000 car does well, but what we think is just the biggest thing is just the overall luxury experience. Really from start to finish, when you walk up to the car, all the animations, when you get inside, you're coddled with the finest materials. I mean, it's really just an incredible experience overall. The ride quality is awesome. Just from start to finish, they've done a perfect execution of a luxury SUV here.
Well, can we say perfect? When
Not quite.
Can't say perfect on anything. Nothing's 100% perfect. And for our airball, I want to identify one characteristic that's not 100% perfect. And that's the fact there's still some bits in here from affordable General Motors vehicles.
Steering
the
wheel
switch
buttons,
gear, the
yeah.
buttons on the steering wheel. I recognize all of those things, not just from Tahoe, but actually from significantly cheaper General Motors vehicles. Those are completely shared with all of the models, some of the buttons here on the dashboard. So, you know, just a few things that tell you that it has roots in more affordable vehicles, but, you know, like you said, overall, you just have a couple things that distract you, but the overall luxury in here really is fantastic.
Yeah, and we're sitting here on a country road, so I don't know how many of you guys will be doing this, but I switched it into sport mode, which does lower the air suspension down, gives you a little bit tighter driving dynamics. So we'll go around this corner here and see how big of a difference it makes. Now, of course, this is a big SUV, so you're not going to be sporting around too much, but let's see. Yeah.
Actually, I can feel a difference.
Yeah, actually,
that's actually pretty substantial.
I'm actually very impressed with that. We drove this in just the regular touring mode earlier, and it almost kind of felt dangerous because this thing is so big. It barely fits in the road, and there's a lot of body roll going on. But the sport mode really does kind of whip it into shape. You know, it's of course still not like a sports car or anything back here, but it definitely makes you feel a little bit more confident driving this on a small road. And it really does a lot better of a job controlling the body roll with the air suspension.
Definitely. The power of having that adaptive magnetic ride control and air suspension is demonstrated right here, because you can switch that character at the drop of a hat. It's been very enjoyable to play with this over the last week. Not enjoyable to pay the premium fuel.
$5 a gallon gas.
Especially now.
16 miles per gallon.
Okay, well, speaking of money, let's talk pricing. So, as you know, the Escalade lineup has a pretty wide range of prices. You can get one as low as $77,990 for your luxury model. But if you want to get to Platinum, you got to pay to play. We're going to go up to $103,290 for a Sport Platinum base model. Four-wheel drive is an additional $3,000, and we have quite a few options on this specific example. Our big ticket items are Super Cruise, Night Vision, and the assist steps, and altogether we have $7,500 of options, $1,700 destination charge, and that takes us to $113,815 as equipped.
While we're cruising along on this highway, I do want to point out this model has Super Cruise, as you've seen in the review by now. We do have a separate video detailing all of the cool features of Super Cruise, so if you're interested in checking that out, go ahead and follow the link in the description, and you can learn all about that advanced system. But guys, how is this Escalade overall? We've lived with this for the last 7 days, and I have to say I'm even more impressed after living with it 7 days than I was going into it, which is hard to do. Yes, this is a $113,000 SUV, and that is incredibly expensive, but you can just see the attention to detail that Cadillac has put into this Escalade that we really haven't even seen on previous versions of the Escalade, and they've done just such a great job from start to finish with the space, the luxury, the tech. It really is, if you can afford this, one of the best luxury SUVs money can buy. Well guys, we hope you enjoyed watching this in-depth review of the 2022 fully loaded Cadillac Escalade Sport Platinum with Super Cruise. If you found this video helpful in your purchasing decisions, or if you just watched this because you like cars, we know what you need to do. You need to hit that subscribe button down below, because we have a ton more automotive content on our channel that I promise you won't want to miss out on. We also have a TikTok and Instagram that also has different car content on there, so go ahead and follow us, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.